I mean, Melissa,
Are you sleepy? Are you sleepy?
it's catching. It's contagious. Where's my brain? I'm so disoriented and
In
discombobulated.
the in between. It's in the in between.
I'm in between the eclipses. Melissa,
Yes.
I hear you have questions.
I have questions. When we were talking a while back in one of the episodes, the one that we did before this one, you mentioned Thema Mundi.
I did.
What is that?
Okay. So I found some things because, yes. So if you're here because we talked about it before and you're like, we got you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
Thema Mundi is, before I start showing things, the theoretical birth chart of the world. If you would like to experience somewhere in the neighborhood of 400 hours of conversation about the Thema Mundi, the Astrology podcast has. The Astrology podcast has a very thorough deep dive, and not just once, multiple, about the Thema Mundi. The Thema Mundi is how we get our planet rulership of signs. It's how we get the order of things in the chart. It's where we anchor our luminaries. And I will show you, like, well, here's the clock of the now. Here we are right now having this conversation. And we know that there's a rising sign, and then there's the sun sign, and there's a moon sign, and then there's all these other parts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is actually from the Astrology podcast. Let's see, does it have it? It does. Chris Brennan, astrologer.com. But this is from the Astrology podcast. The Thema Mundi is a theoretical birth chart of the world. The world was born, and this is where everything was. And it is, the world itself has Cancer rising and moon, Leo sun, Mercury Virgo, Venus in Libra, Mars Scorpio, Jupiter Sagittarius, Saturn Capricorn, and empty up here. And it puts Aries at the top of the chart, and that is how the chart wheel rolls for the birth chart of the world. Now, because it is a theoretical chart, someone very smart calculated, could this ever actually happen in time? And came up with August 11th, 6050 at 1:56 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And here is a chart of Cancer rising, Cancer moon, Leo sun, Mercury in Virgo, Venus in Libra, Mars in Scorpio, Jupiter in Sagittarius, and Saturn in Capricorn. Not paying attention to the outers or the midheaven or anything like that for the purpose of this conversation. But what about it? Okay. What the Thema Mundi does is give us where these planets actually could line up into the signs that they rule, and we could fold the chart in half and get the rest of the rulership. So here's what I mean by that. We have our luminaries: moon in Cancer, which is domicile, sun in Leo, which is domicile, meaning these signs are ruled by the planets, or in this case, the luminaries that are in them. And because so much of traditional astrology, Hellenistic astrology, ancient astrology is done around the sect of your chart, are you a day chart or are you a night chart? It is important to pay attention to where the luminaries lead us through this chart. And so we draw a line right here, And that line then allows us to fold the chart in half along that line. And when we fold that chart in half, we get the moon and the sun kiss each other, because they fold right on top of each other. So we get moon and sun kiss each other. And then moving one house away from the luminaries, away from each other, we get Mercury ruling Virgo and Mercury ruling Gemini. Moving one more house and sign away, we get Venus ruling Libra and Venus ruling Taurus. Then moving one more house away, we get Mars ruling Scorpio and Mars ruling Aries. And moving one more, we get to Jupiter ruling Sagittarius and Jupiter ruling Pisces. And finally, at the end of the folded sheet, away from the luminaries, we get Big Bad Daddy Saturn ruling Capricorn and also Aquarius. So in a sacred math kind of way, we have mapped out planets being in the signs that they rule and mirroring signs that they rule. And the only celestial beings that do not do double duty, because Mercury rules two signs, Venus rules two signs, Mars rules two signs, Jupiter rules two signs in traditional rulership. Remember, Saturn rules two signs. The only two that do not rule two signs are luminaries, and it's because the luminaries' job is to rule the entire chart. And so if you have a day chart, you are sun above the horizon in your natal chart, meaning above the line of the ascendant. You have a day chart and it puts a team together. And if you have a night chart, which is where the sun is below the horizon, you are ruled by the moon, and the moon puts a team together. And so remembering these relationships also really helps us understand the multifaceted truth of each planet as a ruler, because it's easy to say Mercury rules. Let me actually use one that's been co-opted in modern astrology. It's really easy to say that Jupiter rules Sagittarius and has all of that grandiosity and let's explore, let's be expansive, let's be larger than life, all of the, big and brash, all over the place. Jupiter, just bigger, 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 and go experience and don't look back kind of vibe. And then in modern astrology, we put Pisces with Neptune and say, because it's escape and it's druggy and it's storytelling, and is that true? And I can just float away and I lose time and all of those things. But when we bring it back into traditional astrology and put Jupiter as the ruler of Pisces, we understand that Jupiter is allowing Pisces to be so large it leaves this dimension, so expansive that it's beyond this time and space. And that's why human time seems so weird and inconvenient to Pisces. The storytelling is because Pisces is living in multiple dimensions and layers and times simultaneously. And that escapism, yes, you could just tack that on to Neptune, but if instead it comes from, no, there is the ability to go anywhere and believe that anything is possible, we then get to the real core of Jupiter, which is, it is impossible to be pessimistic when you are thinking from your Jupiter, because Jupiter knows we're never done. So you can have infinite optimism that everything's going to work out, because there are only more and more and more timelines and dimensions. If it doesn't work out here in these skin suits during my tiny little time that I'm on the planet, that's okay. We're kicking at Jupiter time, which means eternities, plural.
Jupiter doesn't operate from scarcity.
Ever. Ever.
So I'm mind blown.
Okay, well, so
Would you open it up again?
Yeah.
Would you just
you had specifically mentioned the whole like understanding planets better by looking at what they rule. Tell me what you.
Okay, so when you talked about, I've seen this different times. We've talked about it a couple of times, but then when you said it most recently, I was like, wait a minute, I need to wrap my head around this again.
Right.
You showing that it, like where things are and that it could be folded over and that they basically kiss and match up helped me so much. And also No offense to the outers, because I am about the outers,
Love the outers.
but there's no space, meaning like there's not a place for them there to assign exactly. They might have like a personality of, but it if you fold it in half, let me back up. I also noticed that from the sun, it's like it goes in order of distance from the sun. If we're talking, sun being centric. So then, like all the way out here, the Saturn ruled
Yep.
are the furthest out because that's all they knew at the time. Although there's so much out there.
Because Hellenistic astrology in the beginning of mapping out the planets and then applying them to things that were happening here in human experience, Daddy Saturn was the end of the universe. As far as the eye could see,
Mhm.
that was it. And Saturn was the end. Therefore, Saturn is the coldest, farthest away of everything in the birth chart of the world. And I didn't turn off Pluto and Uranus and Neptune
Right.
and nodes and midheaven and all that on this chart. So we're kind of like ignoring them, but it's more because they're not a part of the story of the Thema Mundi because they didn't
Right.
exist. And we also know so much more exists even beyond
Right.
Pluto, and we could really crowd the house if we wanted to.
Mhm.
But we already have too much. Like
But
the
Saturn's
outers
there
are
as an
already.
anchor. Saturn's like, hey, Jupiter, hey, Jupiter.
Yep.
Things are great, but wait, we're all gonna fly off the page.
That's right. You're going to send us off into that other dimension, Jupiter, if you don't
Mhm.
have some of these boundaries that Daddy Saturn creates. And quite literally, astronomically, Saturn is why Jupiter doesn't implode and suck the entire universe, including the sun, up into its gravitational pull. It is that powerful. It is a very, very, very indiscriminate, I will suck you into me gravitational pull gas ball. And Daddy Saturn says, I'm going to put a boundary into your orbit so that you can't actually do that. I'm going to have a gravitational pull of my own that undoes some of what you would be able to do if left unchecked. And
I
then that's
I
the relationship between these signs. If you think about who's a Capricorn and
Right,
who's an Aquarius to a Sagittarius or to a
right.
Pisces, you're like, yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. I also think that it's brilliant that no two planets are opposing one another. Like, because of all of these
That's
four,
right.
five, four, four, five, four,
Five
four.
planets, two luminaries.
Thank you.
Yep, I got you.
They're not across from one another. They're across from something that is very different from, you know.
Right. And now
So,
we note that this isn't that we go across the axis, like it's not
right,
Libra and Aries share a ruler. No, no, it's when
right,
folded across that line that right here is between Cancer and Leo that we get Libra landing on Taurus. And
right,
those two don't see each other in the astrological chart. Those signs
right,
are in aversion to one another. They are in a very special kind of aspect that is not a Ptolemaic classical aspect, and therefore their relationship is, you would say, interesting because they don't see each other, but they know each other from their shared Venus rulership.
right. So when you fold it over, they come together. But yes, as
That's
I've
right.
mentioned multiple times, looking at like the seesaw on the same axis, there's a world of difference. And yeah, so I never even considered that they. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, that they can't see one another. They're both there.
That's right.
But and I think I was telling you that I'd been really looking into researching, writing about Libra because I understand Taurus better because Taurus is a big player in my chart.
That's
I
right.
understand it, but I might relate to Libra a little bit more,
Mhm.
So and I was just trying to wrap my head around how does Venus show up in a very Taurus way and how does Venus show up in a very Libra way. And so anyway, this is so fascinating to me because I was thinking about this when I was writing yesterday.
I love it. I mean, and I really enjoy thinking about how these planets express nuance when we look at them through the signs that they rule. And so like if
Mm,
we obviously the luminaries, moon does Cancer all night and sun does Leo all day. It's like, yep, got it. When we move into Mercury, let's just step through them real quickly. When we step into Mercury with Virgo and Gemini, Virgo Mercury is all the lists, all the details, very persnickety. That's the word I would use, like very particular, very, very much interested in every little detail and seeing it all and communicating it clearly and making sure that it makes sense. Gemini, on the other hand, has a Mercury relationship that is all the ideas and keep them flowing. It's a writer's room of just nonstop chatter. And it's not about get it right like Virgo is, it's about get ideas flowing. And so it's got the flow of Mercury, whereas Virgo has the retention of Mercury. And those are two very different parts of what Mercury is and what Mercury does. And you might say Mercury retrograde makes things that could be Virgo a little more Gemini, because it takes things that should happen on a schedule and should be on time and puts them in a mutable place of, well, what changes why we're here.
And Virgo is all that Mercury is also like showing up in service of.
That's right.
Not that Geminis can't do that, but that is a very Virgo way to show up in service of.
That's right.
Communication through service and doing and fixing and planning and all of that, which is super different than Gemini
Well, Geminis would take the
energy.
shape of let me create music, let me create art, let me serve by having built something that then can exist beyond the here and now. That those are the kinds of things that I think are the service of Gemini, because they tend to, that energy of Mercury tends to express in Gemini in a musical and creative kind of way. Let's do the Libra Taurus Venus relationship, and we'll keep staying on the bottom part of the chart here as I'm talking, just because then we'll flip up to the Taurus. We've got Venus Libra says, I find beauty in things that are arranged a certain way, that please my eye, that have a balance and symmetry to them. And so when we think of how Venus is love, money, enoughness, for Libra, that all comes from it looks right to my senses. It is what lines up to fairness. It is in fact balanced. It is a nonstop motion of finding balance. And what is beautiful is what is symmetrical. The human brain works in a way that if something is symmetrical and then something's off, we clock it. We go right to it. It's like we leave Venus and go over to Mercury and clock it through Virgo, right? So we leave Libra, go over to Virgo, clock it, come back to Venus and say, okay, wait, how do we get this feeling beautiful again? But Libra does it through, we want the pleasures, we want the beauty, we want everything to be balanced and fair, because that's also, an important part of Libra is that it works out the way it's supposed to, in terms of justice. When we get up to Taurus, for Venus, this is where it's, I need to feel the luxury. I need to feel the quality. The values are less about, is it fair? And more about, I value what I have put my investment into. And my investment can be investment of energy, investment of money, investment of time. All of those are big Taurus values. And it needs to feel beautiful more than it needs to actually look to the outside beautiful. Do you have any nuance you'd like to add to either of those?
I think with Libra, as I was really sitting in that, I thought that it's a beauty of like equality is beauty.
Yeah.
And not just equality like symmetry in someone's face, the studies that they've done, but symmetry in the treatment of others, injustice, and it's an air sign, Venus.
That's right. And we got to remember in essential dignities, which are also rooted in the Thema Mundi, that Daddy Saturn is exalted in Libra. And it's like, that makes perfect sense. Why Daddy Saturn is where we go for justice. This is where we go for law and order. And to be exalted in Libra is because Libra says, I will make it so easy for you, Daddy Saturn, to keep things just and balanced and equitable, because that's what Libra does.
Right. And Libra, Venus and Libra needs that nudge maybe, or that support, because Libra can be so accommodating or so,
People pleasing.
just
People pleasing. Yeah.
Yes, people pleasing or, allegedly indecisive, although I think
Oh
that
yeah.
those words are loaded, but you
Well,
know
but
what I
no,
mean.
by the way, the reason it's indecisive is because the Libra is not just wanting to make sure that where do y'all want to go to eat is answered by everybody's want is taken into consideration, but
Mhm.
also is it fair to the restaurant we chose? Because we chose that one last time. That's not fair to the other restaurants. So that's why Libra is indecisive. It's not just what does
Right.
everybody want to eat, but where wants to be eaten.
And so Saturn is like,
Here's the
we're
law.
gonna make a decision.
That's correct.
Okay.
Exactly. So, but also notice that means there has to be a relationship between Saturn and Venus. And that is, of course, one of my favorite relationships in my chart to do chart harmony around. I've been doing remediation in that relationship for a long time because of how they relate
Mhm.
in my individual natal chart. Let's move into to Mars. And Mars, of course, here in Scorpio says, I want to go all the way to the bottom. I love the underworld. I am comfortable here. I want to bring life to something that didn't exist before. I want to insert myself into situations so that we have a before and after. And I want to make it deep. I want to make the cut real. I want to get all the way into it, not because I'm into details like Mercury, but because that is where the power is. And I
Mhm.
like to win. And the way I win, Mars, the way I win in
Mhm.
Scorpio is by knowing everything and using that knowledge, that intuition, those feelings of like, I don't know, there's something off about that one. Those types of things are what give me the advantage as a warrior, says Mars. And of course,
Mhm.
there's also the weapon on, like, look at the mirror of just even where they're laid out here.
I know.
The weapon on Mars's tail, I mean, on Scorpio's tail is in fact Mars. Like boom, boom.
It is indeed.
It is indeed. And then folded in half, we get Mars as the ruler of Aries. And here, Mars says, take action, take it fast. Don't stop to do any of the homework. We've got that taken care of in Scorpio. Scorpio's done all the research. In Aries,
Right.
we just go. We fight, we bring this fire, we take action, and we may later look at what happened, but probably Scorpio's doing that. We don't have to.
Yeah, and my experience of the Aries is excited, buzzing about, might get pissed, but it's like, "Wah, wah, wah, wah," and then kind of gets over it. And Scorpio will burn your house down.
10 years later.
And then in the next lifetime,
And in the next lifetime as well. Scorpio is playing the long game when it comes to revenge, sister. You bet.
not putting up with crap. I mean, really. But it's not like Aries Mars. It's like I'm gonna like hold it back a little bit and then and I know, and then I'm gonna let it all unfold and then I'm gonna get you.
You will be certain that I have forgotten and that this is gone and buried. And that's when I get you.
Right.
Long game
And
on the
it's
war.
necessary. It's necessary, to deep dive. That's a scary place going down in
That's
the
right.
ocean and in the depths
The
and
depths of all.
emotions.
Right. This is also, by the way, one of the reasons that Scorpio in some situations struggles to get close with others because Scorpio sees into the soul of everyone around them and they assume everybody around them is also seeing into their soul. And I have to tell my Scorpio friends and clients, nobody cares. Nobody is looking deep into your soul like a Scorpio. Scorpio knows everything about you. And the
Mm,
reason Scorpio may hold some things private is because they don't want anyone to know them that well. And I'm like, but nobody's even trying to know you that well. You're safe.
right.
Fine. Yeah. That intensity is not felt by any other sign. It is in fact yours to corner the market on, Scorpio. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so then when we move over here to Jupiter in Sagittarius, a Jupiter Sagittarius, a Sagittarius version of Jupiter rather, is giving us by rulership that expansive experiential growth. It is, I know all the things because I've experienced all the things. And even if I've not experienced them yet, I can and I will. And I go on these wild adventures in my mind, but also I physically can go on them if I would like to. Being a fire sign, I'm a traveling fire. Like, this is not like Leo is a fire pit, Aries is a firecracker, and Sagittarius is the entire mountain range catching on and then jumping over the ridge and setting more fires and continuing to wander because it can just go everywhere. And that's also where we get that Jupiter largeness
Right.
and that expansive vibe. But also incredibly optimistic, very funny, gregarious, and usually extroverted, or if not, plays a really good extrovert game.
Right.
And then on the other side of that, we've got Jupiter ruling Pisces. And Pisces is not really sure why they have to come be in a physical body in the first place. Because couldn't we just stay spirit and soul? Because this whole physical body and this whole time, this human time, really inconvenient. There is so much beyond this. There is so much more, and we can allow ourselves to go there and float there and escape there and understand differently when we communicate there. And Jupiter also says in Pisces, or with rulership of Pisces, have faith, have belief in so much beyond this. There is infinite time and infinite space. So there's no reason to ever worry about anything that is happening here in this little small space, because there's so much more. And that's where we get our religious fanaticism, and cults can take place in this whole, like, we can believe anywhere and anything. And that can really happen with that Jupiter exuberance and enthusiasm for anything that helps explain what this human experience is, because Pisces is kind of like, I don't know about all that. But through a Pisces lens, yes. Optimistic because we're never done, not optimistic like a Sagittarius.
So deep and expansive.
Right.
Versus maybe like intentionally, like externally exploratory.
That's exactly it. They are the two different directions almost of doing that expansion and growth and exploration. That's it. Yep. Yes. And then finally, Daddy Saturn with Capricorn and Aquarius. So Daddy Saturn, as ruler of Capricorn, is in fact Daddy. And the reason I say Daddy Saturn is because I like to remind myself Saturn is Daddy, and we all have daddy issues. Now, you and I have had conversations. I've had conversations with others as well, and others have had the conversations without me. Daddy Saturn may actually be female. And I, in general, don't need to gender the planets. I call Saturn Daddy Saturn because in my life, in my world, that Saturn return comes in and says, Daddy's here. Did you do your homework? Have you done what you said you would do? You set out on this mission, and have you definitely taken care of it or not? What do I need to do to sit you down and get you following the rules? Saturn in Capricorn says rules, systems, order. And that order is, unlike Virgo, a list of things that now we're going to go be of service. It is a list of ways to win, and I am always going to win. All I do is win, 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 no matter what, right? So I'm going to climb. And when I get to the top, I'm just going to notice there's another mountain over there, and I need to jump there and climb some more. It's got an achievement bent to it. Being an earth sign, it wants to have like physical results of what it has done. And Saturn says, if there are rules, you follow the rules, and you follow the rules, you get success, you get the rewards. And so capitalism has co-opted Daddy Saturn in some really horrific ways. When we get to Saturn in Aquarius rulership, this is the other child. I like to say Daddy Saturn has the two kids, the Capricorn and the Aquarius. And Capricorn brings home straight A's on the report card. Aquarius is like, I didn't go to school. Because Aquarius is out experiencing life and taking big ideas out to make change. They are looking for what is the most optimistic way to see what this system could be. And could we get innovative enough to break this and create a system that actually is better? And the word better means what to the Aquarius? What are those ideals? What is it that we are here to really do? What can we do from knowing these rules and these requirements of society? What could we do differently? And can we be open to what that might allow us to build and create and experience? And it's not that Daddy Saturn hates any of that. It's that Daddy Saturn says, if you're going to do that, make it organized. make it a
Mhm.
March, get yourself a slogan. Like there's still going to be
Right.
notes from Daddy Saturn about how to Aquarius.
Right. Right. Right.
Thoughts on that combination?
I'm just looking at Aquarius between Capricorn and Pisces,
Woo!
and I'm like, that really makes sense. I mean, it's really almost like handing off the baton to, okay, I've done this. Here you go. Now maybe you take it out. It's almost like this a generosity of Capricorn to hand that, when they're so achievement oriented, handing something to Aquarius so then Aquarius can go explore, with some boundaries, and then handing that to Pisces, which is like, woo,
Exactly.
way on up there and way down and everywhere. I mean, it just kind of like builds on itself.
Very much so. And the elements do a really good job of telling a story too, because with Capricorn being the last earth sign, it's focused on earthly achievements
Yes.
and the actual physicalization of success. Whereas Aquarius does not give a shit. Pisces does not give a shit. Aries, too brand new to give a shit, doesn't know a shit is a thing to be given. And then we get around to Taurus, the first earth sign, and Taurus says, let's manifest, let's make this real. Because we've had 3 signs in a row not caring about making it real. So Taurus is like, oh, I got you, daddy. I got you over there, Capricorn. We're gonna start making it real again because we need it to be
You've
real.
got 3 don't give a shits right in a row
That's right.
for different reasons.
For
And not,
totally
I mean, I
different.
know you don't mean that. Somebody's going to go, oh my God, I give a shit. That, I mean, basically, you've got Capricorn in the zodiac, the last one that's like, okay,
Caring a lot.
on this earth, this is what we have done. This is what we have to show for all of our work. And now we're moving up to ascension
That's right.
on up.
Yes. And then of course the wheel begins again between Pisces and Aries. We decide, let's take another lap. Let's do this. And Aries
Mhm.
goes, oh, I'm brand new. What's that? What's that? What's that? What's that? Yep, exactly.
Spreading seeds, spreading seeds, spreading seeds. And then Taurus is like, okay, now it's going to
That's right. And Taurus gets to manifest that into what are things that we can value, where can we find the beauty in this? Again,
grow.
coming back to
Hmm.
that Venus rulership. Like the story that it tells is really lovely. And I don't want to cheat the moon and the sun by just going, okay, those are the luminaries, but let's do a quickie on those two as well. Because with the moon being Cancer, it is mothering, nurturing. And I know mothering is a potentially not great word for lots of reasons for lots of folks. It is, what is it to be held? What is it to feel
Hmm.
safe? And not safe because something's trying to attack, safe because that is what that nest feels like.
Hmm.
What is that home? What is that intuitive and I can get fed from it relationship? That is moon. And remember, the moon doesn't have light of her own. She only shines back what is bounced off her.
Hmm.
So that brightness that she changes over the course of a cycle, like every month, we get the moon at different amounts of visibility at all. That going dark, that not being afraid to say, I can help make everybody feel safe and get everybody's needs met while being completely dark, because sometimes the
Hmm.
needs are met by stillness and quiet and disconnecting from the rest of all the things, no matter what capitalism tells you. Then we have the sun
Right.
for Leo, and the sun ruling Leo says, be seen, step out into the spotlight, lead from your heart, be proud of what it is that you have built and brought to the world, because without you, none of the rest of this exists. The sun is the center of the universe and is the whole reason any of the rest of this exists or happens. And so when you go, okay, I'm starting to understand the Leo ego a little better, it's like, no, imagine though also the responsibility of having that as your ruler,
Hmm.
that is, you will be seen when you don't want to be seen. You will be responsible
Right.
for the light of the world even when you barely feel like you have enough light for
Hmm.
yourself. And that's why the relationship between Leo and Cancer is so sweet when they're folded over in the Thema Mundi and do that little kiss, because look at how they support each other. Look at how,
That is the first time I've ever really seen it like
because
that
I folded,
personally.
I folded it. Well, because the Cancer says, it's okay to not shine all the time. I don't shine some of the time and I still am able to do my job. And
Yeah.
the sun says to the moon, be proud too. What you do is important too, even though it's undervalued.
And in this masculine
Mm,
led society, and I would say world, isn't it interesting that the moon comes first?
mhm. Birth chart of the world, Thema Mundi.
Mhm.
Cancer rising, Cancer is the first. That Cancer moon being right there, first up, you bet.
This
Yep.
is cool.
Because if you're not getting your needs met and you're not taking that time to unplug and you're not nurtured, you can't exist long enough to get to the rest of the story.
Mhm. Mhm. Aw.
I'm glad you enjoyed the story of the Thema
Yeah, I know,
Mundi.
I feel like you've told me a bedtime story. I have not able to sleep at night, so
I think that's great. The eclipse has been keeping you from sleep, and now Bonnie just told you a bedtime story, and you're gonna go sleep.
Oh, I love that.
I
I
do too.
hope people watch this. This is really cool.
Please know we're talking about it from a chart harmony perspective. The Thema Mundi is something that you can get lots more geek on about if you would like. And I would say start at the astrology podcast, but there are lots of conversations about the traditional astrology, the Hellenistic of it all. The absolutely the Thema Mundi is a beautiful theoretical chart. And the fact that
Mhm.
someone came up with, yeah, we're going to have that chart again in the year 6050. I'm like, I kind of am obsessed with that. Like, how cute is that?
Very.
Right? Because we're talking, tens of thousands of years old for the first version.
Right, I'm like, "When did it happen the
It
first?"
it takes somewhere in the neighborhood of 22 to 26,000 years before a chart repeats itself. So that's how unique we are, each of us.
Alright,
I mean,
I'm gonna have to Pisces this.
yeah. Enjoy the rest of eclipse season. When I see you again, it will be after we will be separating from eclipse season.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah.
We will be in Libra season,
Oh,
won't
yeah.
we? I think we will.
Yes, we'll be 2 days out from the equinox.
And real quick, what are you noticing? Because you texted me that you were getting themes of,
Beams of a whole lot going in within what in a 24-hour period. So the eclipse, and then early the next morning, Scorpio moves into sorry, Mars moves into Scorpio.
gotcha. Yes.
And then a little bit later in the day, that's when the equinox happens and it's Libra season. So all of these shifts happen really within about 24 hours.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, as we just talked about, Mars in Scorpio is at home and also has a very specific personality,
Yes.
as we also described. And with Libra, being Venus ruled and about equality and balance, and having just come away from these eclipses that are about equality and balance and shadowing and all of that, and the day is equal. I think there's just a lot to consider. I'm really interested to see how this Libra season, in light of everything also going on in the world, is going who we're going to be and how this Libra season is going to play out right after the eclipse and with Scorpio making its move. And at some point, never mind, I think that's in October. I'm going to hush.
That's still a lot.
It is
That's
no, that's a lot. That is a lot right
that is
there.
a lot. That is a
Mhm.
lot. Remind everybody how they can get your newsletter.
Oh boy. Substack,
Celestial
Celestial Roots
Astrology
Astrology.
Substack.
That's This is why I need to hire a person, Bonnie. I told you.
You just need sleep, honey. It's
I need
you can hire a person too, but slash
do
and
those things.
yes.
Just like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
The link is in the description, how you can
Thank
go
you.
deeper with Melissa's storytelling about this and so much more, and mine too. The chartharmony.com website says coming soon, and it has said that for a while. We are we are getting into more official what it is. Yeah, we're getting
Yeah.
clearer. More and more clarity every day. Yay!
All righty.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Melissa. I love you tons. Mwah.
Love you too. Happy rest of eclipse season.